Hello friends, in the previous videos we have seen uh, quarter joint. In that we have seen the construction of quarter joint, various diagrams, then applications of quarter joint, what are the assumptions in the design of quarter joint, then various strength equations of quarter joint, also the bending failure of quarter joint, and design procedure of quarter joint, and we have seen one design problem based on quarter joint. Now let us see the second type of joint, that is knuckle joint. Now what is knuckle joint? So knuckle joint is used to connect two rods whose axes either coincide. Means axis either coincide means if this is the axis of one part or one rod, then the axis of second rod coincide the axis of this rod. So these two are the coincide. These two axes are coincide to uh, each other. Now knuckle joint is used to connect two rods whose axes either coincide or intersecting. Means if this is the one axis, then another axis like this. So these two axes coincides each other. So in both cases knuckle joint is used. In quarter joint the axes are coincide with each other, but in knuckle joint uh, it is used in two cases, like axes coincide with each other and axes intersecting with each other, but both the axes lies in one plane. Both the axes lies in one plane. Then only the knuckle joint is used. Now for what purpose knuckle joint is used? So to transmit tensile force. To transmit tensile force only. Knuckle joint is used to transmit axial tensile force only. Means on this axis axial tensile force is there. On this axis also axial tensile force is there. Now the construction of this joint permits angular moment, limited angular moment. From this from these two axes, we may conclude that there is some limited angular moment of this axis. So it is permitted in knuckle joint. So the construction of this joint permits limited angular motion, limited angular motion between rods about the axis of the pin. So if this is the axis of pin, and about this axis the angular moment of this axis is permitted. This joint is also called as forked. This joint is also called as forked pin joint. Forked pin joint. So why it is called forked pin joint? We will see in the next headings. Now what are the applications of knuckle joint? Now let us see what are the applications of knuckle joint. So in a tractor you may see this joint. So in tractors, tractor mouth and trolley is connected by using knuckle joint. Also it is used in, so let us see the applications where it is used. It is used in joint in tractor trolley, tractor and tractor trolley. So joint between tractor and tractor trolley, tractor trolley. Also, it is used in the joints between the tie bars, joints between the tie bars of roof trusses, tie bars of roof trusses. So in roof trusses, there are n number of links that links are connected by using knuckle joint. Then the third application is joints between the links of suspension bridge. Links of suspension bridge. So in suspension bridge also there are n number of links, so that links are connected by using knuckle joint. Then the fourth application is joint in valve mechanism of reciprocating engine. Valve mechanism of reciprocating engine. Reciprocating engine. Also, it is used in fulcrum for levers. In fulcrum for levers, it is used. Also, you may see this joint in your bicycle chain or in your cycle chain. So chain also consists of n number of links. That links are connected by using knuckle joint. So bicycle chain. Bicycle chain. In bicycle chain, it is used to connect links of bicycle chain. So these are the applications of knuckle joint. Now the construction of, let us see the construction of knuckle joint. Construction of knuckle joint. So there are two rods, rod A and B. So an I is one part. So knuckle joint is consist of, one is I with rod, one rod, that is rod B. Say rod B. There is fork is there. So it is also with rod A. Then one knuckle pin is there. One pin is there called as knuckle pin. And a eye is formed at end of rod B, while fork is formed at end of rod A. And eye fits inside the fork. That eye fits inside the fork. You may imagine bicycle chain, links of bicycle chain, fork is there like this and eye is there. So eye fits inside the fork and pin passes through both the fork and the eye, and this pin is secured in its place by means of split pin. So these are the four parts of knuckle joint. That these three are main parts of knuckle joint. So this is the construction of knuckle joint. Now what are the advantages of this joint? What are the advantages? So its design is simple. Also it is easy to manufacture. Simple design. Then it is easy to manufacture. Or easy manufacturing. Easy to manufacture. Also it has few parts. Then its cost is also less. So less cost is there. Its cost is less. And assembling and dismantling of the parts of knuckle joint is quick and simple. So assembly and dismantling simple and quick. Assembly and dismantling simple and quick. So these are the advantages of knuckle joint. Now let us see the sectional view sectional view of knuckle joint, assembly of knuckle joint, sectional view. Now let us see how to draw a knuckle joint. So this is the fork. I am drawing here. Fork is there. This is the fork. So this is the fork. So let us see. And at the center there is a hole for pin. There is a hole for pin. I am drawing here pin. This is the pin, and this is a split pin. This is the head of pin. So this is the pin. Now let us see. So this is the fork. This is the fork. So this is the fork, and it has a radius. This curved part has a radius, that is R. This is the central axis. This is the enlarged dimension. Enlarged dimension, that is D1, and this is rod which having diameter D. Now this is the radius R. Now diameter of rod is capital D. This enlarged diameter is, or enlarged dimension is D1. Now this is split pin. Now diameter of this fork end and diameter of this pin head. This is the diameter of pin head D1, and this is the diameter of fork end, that is D0. And the diameter of fork end and eye end is similar. Now this is our eye. Eye fits inside the fork. Now this is enlarged diameter, and this is the diameter of rod B. This is force P. This is also force P. Now this is eye. I am hatching here. This is the fork in red hatching. This is fork, and in blue this is eye. This is the eye. This is eye. Now let us see the dimensions. So this is the diameter of rod D. This is tensile force P. And this is the D1 is the enlarged dimension. Also this is D1 enlarged dimension, and this is diameter of rod capital D. Now the diameter of this pin is small d. Now diameter of pin head of the pin is D1. Diameter of outside diameter of fork end and eye end is D0. Now this is thickness of fork end, that is A. This is also thickness of fork end, that is A, and this is the thickness of eye. This is the thickness of eye. Here, thickness of eye, that is B, small b. So these are the various dimensions of. Also this is the radius, and this distance is x, small x. Now this is rod A. This is rod A. Now this is enlarged dimension or enlarged part. Then this is fork. Then this is a pin head. This is pin. So this is the pin. Now this is eye. This is rod B. So these are the various dimensions of knuckle joint, and this is the sectional view of knuckle joint. So after solving each problem, you should draw this sectional view or this diagram of knuckle joint. So this is the sectional view of knuckle joint. Now let us see in 3 dimension how knuckle joint looks like. So let us draw first eye. So this is the eye. I am drawing eye here in 3 dimensions. So in 3 dimensions I will look like this. So I will look like this. So this is the eye, and this is rod. So this is eye. This is the diameter D0. This is diameter of pin, that is D, and this is B. This dimension is B. This is D0. This is D0. This is diameter of pin, that is D. This is diameter of rod, that is capital D, and this is enlarged dimension, that is D1. So on both sides it is D1. So this is the eye. This is our eye. Now how fork look like? Let us see fork. So this is the fork. Now let us see the fork. So this is the fork. My drawing is a little bit poor, so that you can so understand my poor drawing. So this is the eye, and this is the diameter of outside diameter of eye, that is D naught. This is the diameter of pin. So pin fits inside the this fork end and eye end. This eye end insert fits in this ends of fork, two ends of this fork, and pin fits inside the fork end and eye end. Now this thickness is A, this thickness is also A. Now pin, this is the pin. I am drawing here very small pin. So here is pin. This is the pin. So pin looks like this. Now this diameter is a D, diameter of pin. The diameter of this pin head is D1. Diameter of this pin head is D1. So these are the main parts of knuckle joint. So this is the 3D view of knuckle joint. Now let us see the forces acting in knuckle joint. Forces acting in knuckle joint. Forces acting in knuckle joint. Now let us draw. This is the fork. So this is our fork. So this is the fork. This is fork. This is hole for pin. This is the hole for pin. And this is force P. Now this is the pin. This is pin head. Now this is eye. And this is rod. Now this is hole for pin. So now let us see how the forces will act on each component. This is fork, this is eye. Now this is force P, that is tensile force. Rod is subjected to tensile force. Rod of fork end is subjected to tensile force P. Now this force get balanced here P by 2, and here half force here P by 2. Now this rod of I is subjected to force P. This force is balanced here, that is P. Now on the pin, P force is acting, the force of pin P is acting on this I, this side of I. So opposite force P will act on pin. Also here P by 2 and P by 2 acting on this fourth end. Similarly opposite force will act on pin also, that is P by 2 and P by 2. So this force will be uh, uniformly distributed, and this will be uniformly varying load, that is UVL. So in this way, these are the forces acting in knuckle joint, or force balance in knuckle joint. Now see the notations used in knuckle joint. So we seen in a diagram, various dimensions are there. So capital D we assigned for diameter of each rod in mm, diameter of each rod in mm, diameter of each rod in mm. Then capital D1 is for enlarged dimension of each rod, enlarged dimension of each rod. Then small d is the diameter of pin, small d is the diameter of pin, knuckle pin. Then small d1 is the diameter of pin head, small d1 is the diameter of pin head. Then d naught is the outside diameter of eye or fork, outside diameter of eye or fork. Then small a is a thickness of each eye of fork, thickness of each eye of fork, Then small b is the thickness of eye end, of rod B, thickness of eye end of rod B. Then x is the distance of the center of fork radius, R from the eye, in mm. So these are the notations used in knuckle joint. Now what are the assumptions in the design of knuckle joint? So assumptions are, there is only tensile force, axial tensile force, that is the rods are subjected to only axial tensile force. Second is effect of stress concentration due to holes is neglected, and third is force is uniformly distributed in various parts. So these are the notations and assumptions in knuckle joint. Now let us see the strength equations in knuckle joint. Strength equations in knuckle joint. There are 9 strength equations in knuckle joint. So first is strength equations, means we are going to see what types of failures will occur in knuckle joint. Let us see, the first type of failure is tensile failure of rod. tensile failure of rods. So how failure of rods will takes place? Tensile failure means the cross-sectional area of failure looks like this. So this is the rod, and if failure takes place, this is the area of failure. Now it looks like circular cross-sectional area. So diameter of rod is capital D. So area of failure is pi by 4 d square. Now tensile failure is there, therefore take tensile stress is equal to P divided by A. Now area of failure is circular area, that is diameter d, so pi by 4 d square. Therefore sigma T is the final strength equation, pi by 4 d square. From this equation you can determine d easily. D is the diameter of rod. This is the first strength equation, tensile failure of rods. Now see the second strength equation, that is second type of failure, tensile failure of I. Tensile failure of I. So where failure takes place, where there is a minimum area, minimum cross-sectional area. So where tensile failure of I will take place, at the center of hole, at the center of hole. So after failure I will look like this. After failure, let us see after failure how I looks like this. After failure I will look like this. So after failure I will look like this. So this is the failure area. This is the failure area. So failure will takes place here, and at the center hole for pin is there. Now this is the, now from this side you can see, from this side this is the rectangle, this is another rectangle. Now this thickness of I is B, and this is the outside diameter, this is the outside diameter of I, that is D naught, and this is inside diameter, that is diameter of hole, that is diameter of pin is small d. So what is this dimension? So D naught minus D, this much is remaining. So this much into B is the area of failure. Now tensile failure is there. So take sigma T is equal to P divided by A. Now area of failure is equal to D naught minus D, that is this much, into B. So D naught minus D into B is the area of failure. Therefore sigma T is equal to P divided by D naught minus D into B. So this is the second strength equation in knuckle joint. So from this equation you can find out the unknown value. See the third strength equation, that is third type of failure, that is tensile failure of fork. Tensile failure of fork. Where tensile failure of fork will take place? At the center of pin, or at the center of hole for pin. So tensile failure is there, therefore use the equation of sigma T, that is P divided by A. Now after failure, fork will look like this, similar as eye end, but two fork ends will fail. Two fork ends will fail. Therefore, area will be double. So after failure, fork eye of fork end look like this. So this is the outside diameter of eye. This is inside diameter of eye, that is small e, and this is the thickness of eye of fork, that is A. Now similarly, this is the eye of fork, one eye of fork. Similarly, on second eye of fork, similar condition is there. So area for this one fork is, this is D0 minus D into A, and also for fork B, D0 minus D into A. So area will be double. So A is equal to 2 times D0 minus D into A. That is, area is equal to 2A D0 minus D. Therefore, sigma T, strength equation is P divided by 2A D0 minus D. So this is the third strength equation for tensile failure of fork. Now we know that pin is at the center of knuckle, fork and eye. So on one side, eye pulls pin on B side and fork pulls pin on A side. So there is shear failure of pin will take place. So after shear failure, pin will look like this. After shear failure, pin will look like this. So at two sections, shear failure will take place. So this is the failure area. Now diameter of pin is D. So this is the failure area, and this diameter of pin is D. So failure area is pi by 4 D square. At this section, area is pi by 4 D square. At this section also, pi by 4 D square. So area of failure is 2 times pi by 4 D square. So shear failure is there. So take equation for shear failure. Tau is equal to P divided by A. Therefore tau is equal to P divided by, area of failure. So area of failure A is equal to pi by 2 times double shear is there. So 2 times pi by 4 D square. Therefore tau is equal to P divided by 2 times pi by 4 D square. This is the fourth strength equation in the design of knuckle joint. Shear failure of eye also takes place due to force P. Now how shear failure will take place? Let us see how shear failure of eye will take place. Now this is the fail or break section. Now this is eye. Now this is fail section. Now this is our eye. This is our eye. This is enlarged dimension. So total diagram, I will not draw the full diagram. So this is the failure area. Due to shear, this portion will break and goes outside the I of knuckle joint. So due to force P. So this thickness of I is B. Now what is the dimension of this ring? This dimension is, this is the diameter D naught. This is diameter D naught. This is D naught. Now this is diameter D. So this dimension is D naught minus D. That is D naught minus D. D naught minus D. This ring will remain divided by 2. You get this dimension. So shear failure is there. So take the equation for shear failure. Tau is equal to P by A. Now area is, this is what? D naught minus D divided by 2. D naught minus D divided by 2 into thickness B. So this is the, means you may see, this is the failure cross section. So this is thickness B, and this dimension is D naught minus D divided by 2. So this is the area of failure. Now strength equation is tau is equal to P divided by D naught. Now this will takes place on two sides. This is one side, at the bottom second side. So 2 times area. So 2 cancel. So D naught minus D into B. So this is the fifth strength equation of shear failure of I. So it looks like the same formula is for tensile failure of I. Sigma T is equal to P divided by D naught minus D into B. So this is the shear failure of I. Now let us see the shear failure of fork. Similar failure will take place in fork, like shear failure of I. So this is the diagram. This is the shear failure of fork. Shear failure of fork takes place like this. So this is the A, that is thickness of fork. This is force P. Due to force P, shear failure of fork will take place. Now this is the diameter of I of fork, D naught. This is the diameter of pin, that is D. Now area of failure will look like this. Rectangle is there. This is thickness of end of fork A, and this dimension is, this is D naught, this is D. So D naught minus D, this ring will remain divided by 2. D naught minus D divided by 2. So area of failure is on this side also, failure will take place on bottom side also, and similar failure will take place on another eye of fork. So shear failure is there. So tau is equal to P divided by A, and area of failure is 4 times D naught minus D divided by 2 into A. So 2. So area is equal to 2A D naught minus D. So shear failure is equal to P divided by 2A d naught minus d. This is the sixth strength equation for shear failure of fork. Now see the crushing failure of pin in eye. So where crushing failure will take place? Where there is a no relative motion between two elements of a joint. So where there is no relative motion in a knuckle joint, so between pin and eye and pin and fork ends. So crushing failure of pin will take place. Let us see the crushing failure of pin in eye. So this is the pin in eye. Crushing failure will take place on projected area. So let us draw the. So from this side, you can see the rectangle. So rectangle. This is the rectangle. Now this is the crushing failure area, projected area. Projected area is the crushing area. So in eye and fork, similar failure will take place. Now this is the thickness of eye, B. This is pin in eye. So thickness of eye is B, and this is diameter of pin, D. So area of failure is B into D. The crushing failure is there. So sigma C is equal to P divided by A. So A is equal to B into D. So sigma C is equal to P divided by B D. So this is the seventh strength equation in knuckle joint. Now let us see the crushing failure of pin in fork. Eighth strength equation, crushing failure of pin in fork. So like crushing failure of pin in eye, in fork also there is crushing failure of pin in fork ends. So this is the one fork end, and similarly on another fork end there is crushing failure will take place. So this is the projected area. A is the thickness of eye of fork end, and D is the diameter of pin. So area of failure, crushing failure on one end is A into D, on another end it is A into D. So strength equation is sigma C is equal to P divided by A. Now area of failure is 2 times A into D. Therefore sigma C is equal to P divided by 2 times A into D. So this is the eighth strength equation in knuckle joint. Now the ninth strength equation is bending failure of pin. So like quarter, here in knuckle joint, bending failure of knuckle pin will take place. So let us draw the diagram. This is the knuckle pin. So this is the knuckle pin. Now this is the center axis. I am drawing here another diagram. Now from this side, we know that from this side uniformly distributed load is acting. This side. Now on this side UVL is acting. UVL P by 2. Here is also force P, and on this side also UVL is acting. p by 2. Now what is this? This dimension is b. This is total b. So this is b by 2. Now this is a. This is a. So this is a. This is also a. And this is b. Now this is b by 2. Now let us convert this UDL into point load and this UVL into point load. So this is P. So this is P by 2. So P by 2 is acting at the center of B by 2, means on B by 4. So this is P by 2. So this is the point load. Now point load of this UVL is P by 2 and is acting, if this is A, then it is acting from base side, it is acting on A by 3. So this distance is, this is P by 2 and this distance is A by 3 and this distance is B by 2. This total is B, so this is B by 2 and this is A by 3. Now where the maximum bending moment takes place, so at the center. At the center there is a maximum bending moment, and in bending failure we require to find out sigma b. So use flexural formula, m divided by I is equal to sigma b by y. Therefore sigma b is equal to m divided by I into y. To find out first m, then I, then y. Now let us see m. M is equal to, so m is equal to maximum bending moment of at this center. So p by 2, take anti-clockwise moment positive, clockwise negative. So p by 2 into this distance, that is b by 2 plus a by 3. P by 2 into b by 2 plus a by 3 minus, this is clockwise, p by 2 into b by 4. P by 2 into b by 4. Now take p by 2 common from two terms, p by 2. So b by 2 plus a by 3 minus b by 4. Now b by 2 minus b by 4, that is b by 4. B by 4 plus a by 3. Now let us simplify this. So b by 2, LCM of this is 12. So 3b plus 4a divided by 12. So this is the m. This is the m. So you may write like this: 4a plus 3b divided by 12. You can write in this way. So this is m. Now it is I is a moment of inertia. So this is a circular section. Or circular section, moment of inertia is pi by 64 d raised to 4. And what is y? Y is a half of diameter, d by 2. Now let us put all these three values in this equation of sigma b. So sigma b is equal to, what is m? P by 2 into 4a plus 3b divided by 12 divided by I is pi by 64 into d raised to 4 into y is d by 2. Now let us simplify this. So this is 2. So this 2, this is 32. Now this 2 also 16. Then this 12, 4 into 3, 4 into 3, 12, 4 into 4, 16, 4 into 4, 16. So this 4 is at denominator, it will go and numerator. So therefore sigma b is equal to 4p into bracket 4a plus 3b divided by this 1d cancel, so pi d cube. So this 3 pi d cube, 3 pi d cube. So this is the equation for sigma b. This is the strength equation for sigma b. So this is the bending failure of P.